Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and I have with me today Will Young, the at co-founder and CEO at Sana Benefits. Will, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
It's great. Thank you for having me, Tony.
Awesome. And we are recording on Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. Which happens to be my dad's birthday. Just random fact there. But I am one day after recording my virtual 5K. Basically, in order to get out of doing a 5K, I ended up offering to do a virtual 5K, which basically the idea was that I would what's it called, stream myself doing Beat Saber and BR and raise money by doing that instead of a 5K, and it was extremely successful. But I ended up streaming for 5 hours and 18 minutes yesterday, and I normally don't work out at all, so I am hurting something fierce today. I can barely feel my legs, kind of thing. So I'm a little bit off today, but I'm here. So Will, and you're Austin, Texas, right?
Based in Austin. That's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I was just in Austin for InsurTech Austin about a month and a half ago. It was a very fun trip. Love Austin. So it's now November. So I'm guessing that well, I was in San Antonio just last week, and it was actually really nice. It wasn't hot. So I'm guessing that Austin is just beautiful this time of year.
Finally getting nice. Yeah, we've been waiting for a while, but the weather's finally broken.
Perfect. Just like Atlanta, where I'm at. It's finally nice. So Will, we always give the chance for the guests to give the elevator pitch. So what is Sana Benefits?
So what we do is we sell and administer better, more affordable health plans for small and medium businesses. So, there's a lot of innovation in insurtech and health tech, but a lot of that in employee benefits goes to large companies, right? Like all of the innovative solutions sell to large employers. And what we've done is we built a platform that takes all the best in class solutions for healthcare and aggregates them and sells them to small businesses. And by small, I mean as small as 2 employees, as many as a few hundred. But basically, we find a way to bring the best in class healthcare solutions down market, and we bundle it up into these health plans that are better and cost less. So, the buyers for our product would be small and medium business owners, heads of finance, heads of HR, anyone that's looking to purchase health insurance or benefits more broadly, we can help them out.
Okay, but you're not a D2C play. You are broker distributed.
We work with brokers. A large chunk of our business we sell direct, but we really, we work with brokers, and we love working with brokers. And yeah, it's a B2B play. We're selling to small business owners and often through brokers.
Okay. So health insurance in the States, right?
It's so wonderful. Nothing wrong at all.
Basically. And because it's an insurance podcast, we can pretend to the best of my abilities that the problem is the hospital, the providers, not the insurance company. but either way, from the perspective of the employees, their health insurance has been getting worse and worse and worse and more expensive during the 16 years that I've been working. And if I understand correctly, from the perspective of the employers, especially small employers, it's become harder and harder to find decent coverage for your people at anywhere near an affordable price, right? So this is a big problem.
Yeah, it's huge.
So while I run the largest insurtech podcast in the internet, on the internet, as far as I know, we really do mostly P&C, a little bit of life, rarely a health. So I am not as up to date with the with the improvements that have happened on the health side that you're helping get to the smaller market. So give me an idea, like what's it looking like? What are the big things that have been innovated that before Sana benefits were just not finding their way to the small accounts?
Yeah, well, I think your assessment out of the gate is pretty spot on. I mean, it's mostly a bad story. Like the last, and it's not just the last 16 years. It goes back to World War II when we, froze wages and gave tax advantages to employers to offer health insurance, where we shifted to an employer-sponsored healthcare system. Ever since then, medical cost inflation has grown faster than general inflation.
So
So we went
so
from
70 years, 80 years, something like that. My math's not very
yeah,
good.
it's on the order of 70
Um,
years. That's right. Yeah, and it's become increasingly regulated, often for good reasons, like consumer protection reasons. But the best intentions have meant that it's very hard for new entrants to get into the market. And
mhm.
so I think one of the reasons you might not have had that many health insurance guests is because there are really not that many health insurance innovators. There's a lot of innovation on care delivery. There's new medical devices and there's new drugs. But the number of new insurance companies is there's not that many. There's a few that have gotten prominent and gone public, but there's not nearly as much innovation on the payer side, as they
I,
say in health insurance.
I can think of two basically, and we don't have
There,
to name them by name if you don't want to,
yeah,
but
there's like
literally just
six to
okay, okay,
10, maybe if
uh-huh.
maybe two or three that have gone public that are prominent, and then there's a handful of others that are have reached national prominence that are but their brands are vastly larger than their actual footprint. I mean, even the sort of big names that have gone
Oh,
public
okay, okay.
are still like less than 1% coverage of the
Okay.
population.
Okay.
So when you think about things from the perspective of a small business that's out there trying to buy health insurance for their employees, oftentimes they're just buying from the same folks they would have bought from 30 or 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not that many new entrants in the space. So yeah, I see you're wearing a Star Wars shirt. It's a bit like the Empire has won, and we're living under Empire rule. And
Okay.
so you're asking about the rebellion, and I'll tell you about the rebellion, but like it's important to contextualize it that yeah, we're like the Jedis are on the run right here, and there's a small cohort, yeah, and
Okay.
we
So
got to
so
fight them
so
off.
so basically, Order 66 has passed. The Empire has won. There's like 6 Jedis
Yeah,
left in the whole galaxy, and
yeah.
we're in
There's
hiding,
like
kind of thing.
there's like 4 or 5 Palpatines that are like run the different major insurance companies, and but there's a new hope. There's new folks coming up with good solutions, and a lot of the innovation is on care delivery. So there's a lot of really cool stuff happening with virtual care and integrating digital devices. We have all these partners that do low cost or zero, like they charge the patient zero, but then they manage their maternity care or they manage their physical therapy remotely. Sword Health or Maven Health are two examples, or mental health. They'll do therapy or coaching online. There's mobile drug delivery. There's really low cost pharmacy benefit managers. There's all these things that are innovative because the large companies of the world still want to lower costs and do what's best for their employees. And so large companies, there's an ecosystem of innovation that serves large companies. What we're trying to do is bring some of that down market. And that's our play.
Okay. Okay. And you guys are not brand new, right? Like 5 years according to your
5 years.
LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah. We're still early. I mean, we are also a very small footprint in the scheme of things. And so I think, we started the company in 2017, didn't get a first customer until 2018. It turns out people are not eager to buy from a new health insurance company. That was a tough sell coming out of the gate. And then, it was just a couple customers at first, and then it was a dozen, and then it was a few dozen, and now we've got thousands. So, it's grown exponentially, but it's
Mhm.
still tiny in terms of our, what the impact we hope to have and the growth we hope to have. So it's still early, but yeah, 5 years is how long we've been around.
Okay. Okay. Um, how has the market reacted to this offering? And by the market, like most insurance companies, your market has kind of two different heads, right? There's the final buyer, and there's the brokers in between that have to like you for your product to even be shown to the customer.
Yeah, well, that's right. So initially, I didn't want to be on the distribution side at all. I thought, hey, we're going to come up with this better product, and if you build it, they will come. We'll sell this better, lower cost health insurance product, uh, and that's just not how it works. Because we went out to brokers and we went out to customers and tried to work through their brokers to sell to them, and brokers rightfully are conservative. They don't want, the benefits decision is a very important decision because it's not just a financial product like most, maybe most PNC products might be more financial products. If this happens, you get paid out or whatever. There's actually a service component to health insurance where your employees are interacting with health insurance. Almost every single, not every single one, but the majority of your employees are going to interact with health insurance in some way over the next year. They're going to get a prescription drug claim. They're going to want to do their annual visit. They're going to have a baby, or maybe something bad happens and they need you there for the emergency. And so brokers are very wary about placing customers with untested products. And if you're a new company, you're necessarily untested, by definition. So we realized early on, that we had to sell direct in order to get initial traction. And so for the first couple of years, we were 100% direct. Like, we tried to sell through brokers and they rejected us. And then we sold direct and we started getting traction. So we became a broker. We sold our own product. But what's happened in the last year and a half is brokers have started becoming aware of us, and they've started hearing good things about us from clients that we already serve. And we've started building relationships with them. And now, I can see it so clearly, this sort of snowballing effect where brokers are starting to recognize the value that we bring, and they're starting to feel safe enough that we actually know what we're doing. We're actually delivering a product experience that their customers want. And so now we're much more effectively selling through brokers and growing a lot more through that channel. But initially it was very hard to sell through brokers because of their conservatism. And in terms of the customer, we obviously have to, it starts with building a great product. You have to work backwards from what the customer needs. And the customer, it's the broker, it's the business, but it's also the patient. And so you have to have each of these layers of customer support effectively, where you have to, make sure that the decision maker at the company, their needs are taken care of with enrollment and, answering all their questions and making sure they make the right choice with, what plan and what contribution. But then you actually have to deliver a great experience to the patient. That person wants to go see their doctor and they want to make sure their important life moments are covered effectively. And so you just have to solve for a lot of different problems in order to deliver something that everybody says yes to. And we're finally at a point where it's it's really resonating.
Okay. So looking at the website, sanabenefits.com. By the way, the name Sana means heal in Spanish. I don't
Or healthy.
I don't know if that was the idea.
Sana vida. Yeah, it's like a healthy life, a healthy.
Okay,
there's like a nursery rhyme that I don't know if you know, but it's like sana colita de rana, sino sana hoy, sana mañana. Yeah. So that was part of it, is the Latin root. Like, there's other Romance languages that use the word sana, and it's so yeah, that connotation was what we were going for, like healing, healthy.
A quick parenthesis, like, you've got a strong accent, but your Spanish is very good. So where did you learn Spanish?
Growing up in Arizona,
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I was gonna
they
say,
taught it in grade school, and there's,
oh,
I'd speak Spanish with people around, but it's not good. But I appreciate you saying that.
no, I was gonna say because your LinkedIn profile makes me think that you're from Northern California, and Southern California has a lot of Spanish, but Northern California not as much.
I've spent a lot of time in Northern California, but I grew up in Arizona until I was
Oh, okay,
18.
yeah, that makes sense. Got it. So looking at your website, signupbenefits.com, um, I love the idea of benefits that your employees will love. Uh, okay, so you guys offer medical, dental, vision, virtual
We do it
primary
all. We
care.
only do the medical in-house. That's our bread and butter. But a
Oh,
lot
okay,
of
okay.
small companies, they once they've decided on health insurance, they also need all these other things.
So you
And so
partner with other.
we partner with other folks to
Okay.
deliver those benefits, and we administer it all on our platform if they want. So they can come to our web application and handle open enrollments and handle billing and do all the stuff they need to do to get people on dental, vision, life, disability, whatever they might need. But yeah, the health insurance piece is what we actually operate.
Okay. Ken, and you've got on the website 5 different plans, an HSA compatible one, and then kind of the bronze, for like increasing
Yeah, yeah,
quality plans.
yeah, yeah,
What I found really interesting is the PPO plus idea. And again, I don't live in health insurance, so maybe this has become common and I just didn't know. But when I put my
yeah,
mouse over it, basically, Sana PPO plus plans are all access, which means you're not bound by a network or subject to out of network fees. You can invite any doctor you want. I have not seen this, at least anywhere that I've worked at, right? And plans that have been offered to me.
yeah.
And I worked at large companies, I worked at small companies, and nowadays I'm self-employed, so I have to go through the marketplace, uh, and I have never been given the option of no out-of-network fees, which for me not a huge deal. I never get sick. I don't take any prescriptions,
Yeah,
but there's definitely a lot of people for whom like who's in network is a huge concern, right? Most people.
absolutely.
So is this open network a normal thing nowadays in health insurance, or are you guys significantly innovating with this?
Not a normal thing. Yeah,
Okay.
and I think it's just a mistake. The health insurance business, and I think this goes back to it's so regulated. There's so little competition that there's just low hanging fruit to deliver much better experiences for customers. And one of the places where there's low hanging fruit is, as a payer, as an administrator, like just hustling to get people to see the doctors that they want to see. It's such a no-brainer. Like so much of your experience as a patient is, can I see the people that I want? Can I get access to the care that I want? But if you're on a Blue Cross plan and you're like, oh, I really want to see this doctor, and they're not in the Blue Cross network, it doesn't even cross your mind
I
that you could get the doctor into the Blue Cross network.
I
You'd be like, oh, what do I call customer support? It's like a 6 month process. It's just not even something you'd think
I
about.
I I,
Uh,
I wouldn't think like it's possible at all. Like not even a
yeah,
6 month
it's
process. So
Yeah.
I am
And why
really
not?
curious.
Why not? That's absurd. That
I'm really
doctor probably
curious.
wants to see you. You want to see that doctor. You can probably agree on a reasonable rate. All it takes is someone with the initiative and the authority to make that contract. And so we just do that. We have a team of people that's really responsive and just like reaches out to the doctor's office and says, "Hey, do you want to accept this contract?" And like the vast majority of the time they say, yeah, sure. And it's great. Now they're part of our network. Or we even have this thing where doctors can sign up on their own. So we just have a link that doctors go to and they self sign up to be a part of our network. And as long as they're credentialed appropriately, we say, okay, great. You accept our payment terms, you're credentialed, you're in, and it's self-service.
What it in the overall country, you might know this, you might not, but what is the market share of the blues? How much of the market of the health insurance market do they control?
So this is really interesting, right? There is no healthcare market and this is one place where the US is different. Let me tell you what I mean. Like we have a dozen, different markets. Like every single state has a distinct market. right? And so the Blues, overall, I don't know what their total market share is, but maybe it's like 20% or something, right? It's on that order of magnitude, between 10 and 20%, I guess. And you're like, oh, so they don't have that much market share. But in Alabama, for small group commercial, they have 95%. And so it's like, okay, what's relevant is if you're a small group in Alabama, it doesn't matter that Blue Cross's share of the Medicare Advantage market in Georgia is small. It's like, what's relevant to you is what is the market share of the Blues or whoever the dominant player is in your specific market. And the average market share of the leading insurer is over 50%. So the Kaiser Family Foundation does this survey every year, and you can look at the stats. So in most of the times when you're shopping for health insurance, the options available to you are dominated by one, maybe two players.
So basically,
that's
it's not easily visible to those of us who are not looking at health insurance and studying it and really trying to play in that space in the whole country. But ultimately, it's a quasi monopoly in each region, kind of the same way that cable is. And there's no reason for it, because cable is quasi monopoly because they have physical infrastructure.
That's right. That's right. Whether it's like, and within any state, there's the individual market, there's small group, there's large group, there's Medicare, there's Medicaid, there's like, there are actually like hundreds of distinct healthcare markets in the US. And at any point in time, you are participating in one of them. And within those markets, you have these power dynamics.
Yeah, you can't easily choose which market you want to play in, right?
Oh no, if you're an individual, if you're like alone buying, you're in the individual market.
I
made the choice play in the large group market.
Yeah, I made the choice to go off on my own I made the choice first to go from Liberty Mutual to Jacobson. So from a company of like 50,000 people to one of 100 people, because it was a better job for me and my benefits went to crap. Not Jacobson's fault, right? It's just a much smaller company. And then I again made the choice to go from a company of 100 to a company of me. And again, like,
your
not my fault that I can't offer myself better benefits. I'm stuck in the individual market, right?
That's right.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And also in the same chart with the PPO plus idea, I love that. And also $0 virtual doctor's visits. So okay, so telemedicine allows for things like this. So which types of doctor visits are truly no copay?
Quite a few. This is another thing that I think people in healthcare don't understand, that people in technology understand intuitively, which is like, in order to like utilization of a product, the more friction you remove, the much higher utilization goes, right? Like Amazon's one-click checkout, like why do they have one-click checkout instead of three-click checkout? And so, well, the conversion rate is so much higher if you can just get one-click checkout. And a lot of companies will offer free telemedicine through Teladoc, right? But Teladoc will have like a 10-page intake form for you to get like a virtual visit. And meanwhile, Teladoc is over there collecting a per employee per month fee, and like you're only getting 2% utilization from your population of Teladoc. And it's like, well, why? We offer this service and nobody wants it. And it's like, no, people want something easy. People want something one click. People want something that with no barriers to actually talking with someone. And so we endeavor to build something that people actually use. And one of the ways you get people to use something is you don't have a credit card in the middle, like you sort of remove friction where you're like, okay, you have like some link that like gets you to access to, verify that you're an employee of Sana or a member of a Sana plan, and then you're having a visit. So urgent care is the typical, it's reactive support where you're trying to triage some issue, and it's not like a life or death issue, but like somebody's sick and you just need some checkup. Like you can do telemedicine visits. We also have telemedicine for pediatric care specifically. These are through partners. We also have telemedicine for, I mentioned, like physical therapy and maternity care, mental wellness, and We do like health coaching. So if you've got chronic disease and you need to get on a different nutritional plan, like our partner Vita will actually like, in some cases they'll send you a scale and like a fitness tracker, and they'll put you on like a program to get in better shape. Like we have all these things that are just like obvious improvements to your access. And we make them super cheap because they're cheaper for us too. That like going to the emergency room is hundreds or thousands of dollars
Yeah.
just for showing up. So like how many virtual visits can I pay for to offset one, emergency visit? And it's like, it's such a no-brainer to do this. And like, yeah.
There's no restriction on like the ability to get a prescription from a $0
so it depends on who you're talking to. Like sometimes you're not always talking to a doctor that's able to issue that. Like if you do like an urgent care visit, you can get prescriptions issued for sure. And there's some rules that, it may not be all tiers of prescription. I don't know the exact rules,
yeah.
In most
Makes
cases,
sense.
like, my daughters have had ear infections, and I would do a virtual visit and get the prescription for the antibiotic. And then we actually have a partnership with Capsule that's like a pharmacy that does last mile delivery. And so I would just sit at home, do a virtual visit, and then the antibiotic would show up at our door. And it's all just through partnerships that we have and make seamless.
Okay. So for my listeners, about half of them are brokers.
Yeah.
So for brokers, clearly, I think that it doesn't take much to realize that this is a better product for your final clients. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm a broker, a couple of things that go through my mind. Number one, I've got existing relationships, right, for 50 years kind of thing. Why should I add a relationship to this? Like my clients are definitely complaining about healthcare, but they might not be asking about Sana by name. Number two, are the commissions competitive with what the traditional players are paying? And number three, how easy is it to sign up as a broker? And I guess number four,
I'm gonna have to write these down.
Are there minimums to keep my appointment? But let's start with okay, I've got existing relationships, right?
Yeah.
That I've been doing for 30 years.
Why add something else?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the tough one. It's like giving people enough of an incentive to switch from what they're doing. And selling us is admittedly, you have to like learn something new, And the other side of it, though, customers are not happy. Their clients are getting, especially now as inflation is really heating up, medical inflation is still outpacing normal inflation. Always. Right. So, so your renewals are coming in 10, 15, 20% year over year on an already big number. And if you go back to your clients again and say, well, we're just going to do Blue Cross again, 15% more expensive, that's not a conversation I think a lot of brokers are excited to have. And clients are looking around for ways that they can, opt out of this endless cycle of crazy high increases. So what we've seen from brokers is there's a lot of interest in having another option, having something else on the table that clients can look at. And, when they place business with us, they're very happy, but, getting them to like, is there value in having someone else around the table? Absolutely. And it's because the existing partners are doing such a piss poor job of satisfying their clients. Commissions are competitive. We obviously, that's table stakes. You have to pay a sufficient amount to justify the broker's work to, go out there and source options. Like we have to be competitive there. So we are. Oh man, all the other questions. Well, let's
will I lose my appointment for not enough sales?
No, not at all.
Yep.
Yeah, we're still in this growth phase where we have early broker partners who they've been early adopters. They've seen the promise of our product. They've put a couple clients on. they've gotten renewals that they're happy with, and they've added more people on their book. And we're just hungry for people to know about us and to try us. And so, like, there's no minimums, there's nothing like that. You know, what we want, I'd say we're the best fit for brokers that really want to deliver something better for their clients. You know, hope we're trying to deliver on that. So the folks that are trying to, you know, go wherever pays them the most, you know, yeah, we'll pay a fair rate, but like, we really want to find sort of kindred spirits, like people that actually want to do right by their clients, and those are the folks that I think are going to work most productively with us.
Perfect, perfect. Congrats on being ranked as one of the LinkedIn top startups.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you. Yeah, that
so
was a fun acknowledgement. That was nice then.
that is fantastic. Um, so finally, I'm always curious how founders end up founding what they decided to. Right.
Yeah,
How did the idea happen? Like your background wasn't healthcare based on
no,
your
yeah,
LinkedIn,
no, it
right?
wasn't.
You've got a degree from Stanford, international relations, did some study abroad in China, and then you've got a Harvard MBA. So you've got fantastic education, and then you worked first in somewhere in the motion pictures. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah,
Well,
I worked in Hollywood. I worked for a talent agency
oh,
for a
talent
couple
agency.
years.
So what were
Yeah,
you doing for the talent agency?
what was that?
What were you doing for the talent agency?
Oh, um, I was handing out mail.
Okay, perfect.
The way
Uh,
you get into Hollywood is you literally start in the
of
mailroom, and
course.
but
Okay,
then, you know, then I was working for an agent, and you know, but I was working at one of the big talent agencies,
okay.
and
So
I thought Hollywood was interesting.
so you end up at YouTube, part
Yeah, that was the transition into tech
of
was,
Google. Okay,
yeah,
and then it looks like another tech company. So
yeah.
did you just
So
get frustrated with the healthcare options, and you're like, there has to be a better way?
yeah, so my sort of gateway drug into health insurance was working at this payroll company called JustWorks.
Okay.
So JustWorks um, was a great business that I joined very early. I was like the 10th employee, and got to watch. It was sort of like a crash course in how you build a great company, both internally, how you interview people and build a great culture, but also how you build a great product, one that starts with a customer need and works backwards into something that really works well. And it's an administratively complicated product. You have to deal with taxes and all of these state level regulations, and there's all these like workflows that you have to build. It's like boring stuff, but it's important. You like can't get it wrong. Like PTO, you know, utilization calculations, you know, and everyone has all these custom models. And so it's like a very difficult thing to get right, but it's very important to people. And I got to learn how you build a business of that kind. And I left there because I wanted to start a business. And I thought, what problems did I see at JustWorks that needed solving? And health insurance was easily the sort of the biggest one, both because it was the biggest expense that people had after payroll itself, but also was the one that we got the most complaints about at JustWorks, because people would
Ah,
sign up for health insurance through us, and then they would call our support team complaining about the health insurance. And you know, I ran operations for a while there, and so you know, a lot of those complaints bubbled up to me, and I got to see how important it was to these business owners, and how expensive it was, and how bad it was. And I just thought, okay, well, what would it look like to build something better for this cohort of customers where there's such an acute need? I mean, you said it yourself, like, you know, you've moved from the large company where it felt okay to like smaller and smaller companies, and the benefits just get worse and worse and more expensive, and you know, and like that, you feel that everybody feels that
oh
problem.
yeah.
So like, it was obvious to me, if you could solve that problem, or even just make it better, like make it something better than the status quo, you'd have a really powerful business and product. And so I started there. My co-founder Nathan, who's a software engineer, also was at JustWorks. We started working on this problem together, pulling the thread of like, how might you build something from scratch? And eventually Sana was the result. You know, we brought in people that really do know the ins and outs of healthcare to help us. And then we learned a lot ourselves, and built something that's, you know, from an outsider's perspective, we started from first principles and built something new. And I think it was really important that we came from outside the industry, because we didn't have all these bad ideas that were already locked in, but we've tried to sort of synthesize the good stuff from the industry insiders that we brought on with a fresh perspective.
There's a lot of bad ideas that are baked into health insurance as we do it in the States. I'm a very healthy guy. I'm very, very lucky, but holy crap, there is a lot of just like not being able to easily get a price ahead of time. Right? You know, you call a hospital or a clinic and you go, hey, I need this simple procedure that is not an emergency, and this is the insurance I have. How much is it going to be? Well, can't tell you until afterwards.
No way.
There's just so much broken stuff in the system. Thank you for jumping into this just burning disaster. Yeah,
it's exactly. A burning building. And like, I'm probably singed. I'm getting singed.
I want to say, you know, the general metaphor used in the States is the trash can on fire. No, the
the dumpster fire.
Yeah, dumpster fire. Exactly, the dumpster fire. Like health insurance is much bigger than dumpster fire. It's like
yeah, it's like a dumpster fire, but it's 1/5 of our economy.
Exactly.
It's like,
exactly. Oh yes, exactly. So yeah, you're a better man than I am to be willing to jump into that mess and try to fix it. So thank you. It's been great chatting with you. I look forward to seeing you guys continue to grow. Hopefully get you back in a year or two, back on the podcast, and hopefully you guys are continuing to grow. When this goes live, I will tag both you and the company on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's been super interesting. My assumption would have been, if I had been in your shoes when you were thinking about starting this company, my assumption would have been it can't be done better because of regulation. At least not with the current laws. Like I would have thought that we have to start the change in the legislative process. So
I think that would have been my assumption too. But there's two things that I did that that made me think it was possible. The first was you actually read legislation. So like, I mean, this is one of these things that I don't think a lot of people in technology do. Is, you know, they're not sitting down and reading, you know, the ACA or ERISA, which was more relevant to us, and like state level insurance regulations. So like actually reading the primary sources and learning what's allowed and not allowed is that's essential. And we did that. But also there are other companies, you know, it's such a huge space. You can actually look at what other people are doing and cobble together the best bits of other people's models into something that you think makes more sense. And so that's, you know, a lot of the things that we built Sauna around were not necessarily our ideas initially. You know, we're just borrowing from other people who've done parts of this. And maybe the thing that's most innovative about us is, you know, doing it all in-house, like bringing all these ideas together and serving a customer that otherwise was left out in the cold. And I think that's what's really special about us. Not necessarily that we, you know, we're particularly innovative on any specific thing.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time.
Tony, thank you for the time. I appreciate it.